Now let's study Matthew chapter 2 together.
Chapter 2. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews?
I find this very interesting, that wise men, first of all, that they're called wise men, who obviously knew what had happened based on looking at the stars. So they are called wise men. They could be called magi, philosophers, or astrologers, but they obviously knew the truth. They weren't just bogus or false prophets. They knew the truth, and they truly were wise, and they did know what was happening based on looking at the stars. And they were not Jews, but yet they knew about the prophecy of the King of the Jews. It's very interesting.
For we saw his star in the east, and are come to worship him. And when Herod the king heard it, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And gathering together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ should be born.
So Herod immediately feels threatened. The prophecy of the King of the Jews, and yet he is the king. So there's a new king.
And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written through the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, land of Judah, art in no wise least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come forth a governor, who shall be shepherd of my people Israel. Then Herod
So fulfillment of prophecy that the Christ, the Messiah, would be born in Bethlehem. That's what the scribes, the Jewish scribes and priests, all knew the scriptures.
privily called the wise men, and learned of them exactly what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go and search out exactly concerning the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word, that I also may come and worship him.
And that's obviously a lie. He did not want to come worship him. He wanted to kill him to eliminate the threat.
And they, having heard the king, went their way. And lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was.
So this is not a regular star. I've done some studies to try to figure out where the planets are at the time and all sorts of things like that. But I believe this was an abnormal star. A star that moved, not just a wandering star or a planet, but a star that moved quickly in a way that would allow these wise men to follow the star directly into exactly where Jesus was. Something very abnormal about that. And I don't know how they could have known about an abnormal star that would move in that sort of way, but somehow they did.
And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And they came into the house, and saw the young child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. And opening their treasures, they offered unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh.
So here's where most people say there were three wise men. It just says there were wise men, and they brought these three types of gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So most likely there were more than three wise men that were bringing all these gifts, which, by the way, would certainly help Joseph and Mary travel and sustain themselves at this time.
And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way.
So also I find it interesting how many times God speaks to Joseph in chapter 2 alone. Here he's been warned in a dream not to go back home because Herod was looking for him.
Now when they were departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I tell thee, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. And he arose and took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might...
Now I just tried to research quickly how long that was. How long was it that they were in Egypt before Herod died, and I couldn't find a definitive answer. There's speculation of 1 year to 8 years, but it was certainly less than 12 years because of what we know happened with Jesus when he was 12 years old.
Be fulfilled which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt did I call my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth, and slew all the male children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the borders thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had exactly learned of the wise men.
So, this moving star that could direct the wise men to the exact location of where Jesus was had somehow appeared 2 years prior. So it's as if the star appeared long enough for the wise men to figure out what it was, what it meant, to travel to Jerusalem to talk to Herod, and then the star moved even in a more strange way to direct them to the exact location of Jesus. So I just don't think this was a normal star. It was something abnormal.
Then was fulfilled that which was spoken through Jeremiah the prophet, saying, A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping in great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and she would not be comforted, because they are not. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeareth in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise.
Another dream. God speaking continuously with Joseph about where he should go and when he should go. I'm a little jealous of all the communication from God to Joseph.
Arise and take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead that sought the young child's life. And he arose and took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go thither. And being warned of God in a dream,
There's another dream, another warning.
He withdrew into the parts of Galilee, and came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken through the prophets, that he should be called a Nazarene.
So, just fulfillment of prophecy one after another. The Nazarene, the Egypt, Bethlehem. There's no coincidence. God has a plan, and God makes sure that his plan is carried out. There was actually no legitimate threat to Jesus' life, because there's no way that God would allow Herod to kill Jesus. But God's plan was to take Jesus to Egypt and then to bring him out to Nazareth. I'm thankful that God has power over conditions of this earth, and that he can ensure that his plan is carried out with no possibility of opposition or change.